I want to talk to my Christian brothers and sisters about a certain topic, and that's arguing with non-believers. And if you're like me and discernment is one of your God-given gifts, you're going to be very frustrated in trying to convey concepts and points to non-believers and get them to understand where you're coming from. And in order to sort of help ease your mind a little bit about why it is that they're not listening to you, why it is that they're kind of like downplaying your opinion or acting like certain things don't matter when you're like, that's one of the fundamental pillars of my argument, is you have to understand that they don't have what you have. They don't see what you see. You know, it's like chess players who are naturally good at being able to see moves in advance before they even make them. See, that ability that those advanced chess players have is kind of like what your ability of determining right and wrong and foundational truth is. Is to you it's semi obvious. To others it's such a foreign concept that it's even more different than a foreign language. Like, at least with a foreign language, you can almost see some sort of structure, but they can't even see that. And I just want to tell you that you have to kind of structure your arguments the same way that whatever, you know, belief that they have made them think. And I want to use the abortion argument because some of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard have come from abortion supporters. Main one being, one said that abortion's not murder, it's just not being pregnant anymore. And to us, that is probably one of the dumbest things that you could possibly ever say. But there are people who really think that, oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, they don't see the inherent contradiction of what that is, you know. And it is because of our understanding of God and spirituality and right and wrong that we see how that is completely foolish and stupid and moronic to say and think. But to them, that just makes sense. You know, it's like, I throw dirt in the air and now I have dust. You know, it's like, and they don't see how, you know, if you throw dirt in the air, that has other consequences later on down the line. I mean, depending on what it is. But, you know, maybe that's a poor example. But you get the point I'm trying to say. And before you get mad and before you want to throw things and just throw your hands in the air and say these people are lost and they can't be reached, you have to look at it like you're in an airplane and they're on a boat and you're flying towards the shore and they're sailing towards the shore. Now, from your perspective, you can see above the fog, but they can't. Now, because you can see above the fog, that just gives you a different perspective. It doesn't mean you have better eyes. It doesn't mean you're better. It just means that you have a different perspective. And you have to realize that you only have a different perspective because of the vehicle that you're in, not because you're intrinsically better. Because I know, you know, once you have that understanding, it's very easy to kind of get like an attitude, to get a holier than thou. I mean, it's really hard to fight against, but when once you keep everything in perspective, it's pretty easy. But you have to have that perspective first. Now, again, when you're explaining these situations, you just have to keep telling yourself that, remember, they're in a fog and they can't see. That's why the decisions that they make seem completely moronic to you. That's why the sentences that they say seem the most utterly stupidest things that you could possibly come up with. But it's, again, they can't see where they're at in relation to everything in the grand scheme of things. You know, like they're trying to make their way around a dark room. To use another analogy, they're trying to make their way around a dark room using echolocation when they don't have echolocating devices. But you have a flashlight or you have night vision, so while you still can't see everything, you have a way better perspective and view of stuff than they do. And you just have to keep that in mind and just keep reminding yourself of that, because it's not that they're stupid inherently, or it's not that they're incapable of learning. It's just that they're lost. They don't have the necessary things to see the folly in their logic, you know. And, you know, again, if you read Proverbs, and mainly Proverbs talks about it. It talks about, you know, wisdom and the fool, and it really does break it down. You know, like a fool despises instruction. And so long as they despise instruction, they're never going to get it. And that's why they say the dumb stuff that they say. So be careful when you get into arguments about, you know, whether it be politics, religion, with I hate to say it, fools, because if they haven't grasped some sort of actual wisdom, because there's a difference between someone who's looking for wisdom and hasn't found it versus someone who rejects it and just spouts off a bunch of stuff so they'll seem like they're smart, you know. And you just have to keep that in mind. It's like, you know, a person who can be reached will listen to what you have to say and analyze it, and how they come back at you will pretty much tell you if they're being genuine or not, or if they're, you know, just being, you know, how do you say it? If they're just trolling, I guess you could say, or if they're actually coming to the table with a sound argument and wanting to understand and saying, this is why I feel the way I feel, and I know you think that I'm wrong, but this is why I feel as though I'm right. You know, you kind of have to go into a little bit more analyzation of, you know, the source of their argument. But, you know, a fool will show himself or herself rather quickly. But, you know, just I just say, you know, keep that in mind. Just remember that they don't understand what you understand. It's not clear to them, and just remind yourself of that when you get into these debates and these arguments or these situations where you have to explain yourself and why you believe what you believe, why you feel the way that you feel, etc., and so forth. So, you know, it requires a lot of patience, you know, but, you know, you have the power of God on your side. So hopefully that helps some of you out, because I know some people before me had to kind of tell me that, you know, it's like, you know, it's obvious to you, but it's not obvious to them. And I'm like, how is it not obvious? Like that just means that they're stupid, because I'm not that smart. So if I can get it, they can get it. And you're like, you know, it doesn't work like that. You know, again, that's relative comparison. You know, it's like you're using yourself as the standard, but you yourself aren't a set standard. You know, you fluctuate as well. So, hopefully that helped out some of you guys. And, I just thought I'd want to say that. So, John from the Gen XY.